Are you ready to shake out those family trees?
Wow! Yes!
It's Linda and Gina. On the Twice Removed podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Twice Removed podcast. We're your hosts, Linda over there.
Hello.
And Gina over here. Hey, and we welcome you back. We thank you for coming back and finding us. Today we're going to talk about the mtDNA test. Say that 5 times fast. That Linda took, and she's going to break it down for us and tell us what that's about. So what is it about, Linda?
Okay, so once upon a time, let's backpedal here to a few months ago when you and I took our 23andMe tests, and I was so excited that they gave us our haplogroups as part of the, everything. And
it's been a big help in having, identifying family members and stuff too.
Right. On the maternal side.
Right.
Like from great grandmother and her maternal line back, and grandmother, mother, daughter, child, whatever, and keep going. It always passes down from mother to child, but only mother to child.
Is it only mother to female child?
No, mother to child.
Either.
Like, if you had a biological brother, then he would have the same mtDNA haplogroup. He would also have the Y DNA from his dad, from your dad.
Oh, so we wouldn't exactly match because we don't get the Y, right?
No, you just don't have it. You don't have a Y chromosome. So, yeah. So, so if you look on the 23andMe tests and you're matching with your mother's first cousin, their mothers were sisters. So you have the first cousin once removed, and their haplogroup should be the same as yours. Okay, so that's what that means. All right, but and we're going to talk about that real quick. If you remember, yours and his aren't exactly the same.
Right.
And that made me think, well, okay, so why aren't their tests the same, their results the same, their haplogroups, if it's supposed to be? But yet a second cousin that you found has the same exact one as you. And the answer is that the testing that he took was older, and now the testing is better and more specific. So if he were to retake it, he'd probably have the same haplogroup as you.
Oh, wow. So they just can't even update it from now.
No, they wouldn't update it because, they throw away the sample and they're not going to run it back through again. So that made me think like, okay, so if the testing is this way on here and I didn't pay extra for it, I think I'm going to go take a test over at Family Tree DNA for specifically mtDNA to make sure that my haplogroup is V. And it is not exactly V. It's V10B1. It mutated a few times from the V group, but it's still part of the V family. So like if I'm going to join, V groups anonymous, then that's fine because we're still researching from the same place in Africa where everybody came from. But the specific thing here is that I don't have anybody that I match with over there in the group. There's like maybe a total of 8 of us that have tested through Family Tree DNA or FTDNA, if you want to call it that for short. And none of those other people are in the support group or on the big spreadsheet up there. So where you can say, oh, look, there's somebody who's in my line. I mean, literally in my line because they would be. No. And they're scattered. They're not all in Germany.
Well, what's this mean? I mean, not one person. Usually you find one.
It's rare because it's like a specific thread from the V. So, and it mutated. And what they said is like the mtDNA, it mutates, but it doesn't mutate like every other generation or anything. It's way back. It could be, many, many, many generations back. And same with the Y DNA, only it mutates a little bit faster, but still, I'm not really going to get into the Y-DNA because we don't have that, me and you. It's specifically on this test that I took, really, and what I found out. So, to try to figure out, well, what does that mean to be V10B1? It just means that me and my mom and my mom's two sisters and my mom's one sister who had kids, her daughter and her son, and the daughter's daughter. And then there's maybe some others, like my grandmother's sisters maybe had a daughter. I don't remember offhand. And yes, they did. But they're deceased. I don't know if she had any daughters. I haven't gotten that far in the tree. But anyway, so there's not that very many of us from that same line. And so you have to go back another generation. And it's like, okay, well, the great-grandmother would have been her sisters, her mother. And then maybe those people, if they ever tested, then maybe I would find somebody in the relative, close history, like it's people who might still be alive and have descendants, or whatever.
Right.
But going back further than that, they would have all branched off and gone off into different areas, and they just haven't tested. So here I am with my little tiny group again. It's almost as bad as like every cousin of mine. Sad story. You hear the violins playing. Like I hardly have any close relatives on any of my DNA matches, so this just goes hand in hand with that perfectly.
Okay, but it's funny though. But you've still managed to find a few there. I mean, you found people. So
I found people.
If nothing's matching, then what do you do? I mean,
a lot of research.
That's your only recourse.
That's what I do. I just do a lot of research. Just when the DNA is pretty new, right? The last 10 years or so is when people have been using these DNA tests and everything to find people. It makes life a lot easier, but just anybody from the past would always just, draw it up family tree with, a big giant piece of paper and, fill it in. And then
now, are there certain like German tests you could take, or any? I mean, that maybe it's like an ancestry offshoot or something like that.
It's called Ancestry.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that they have them. Like, do you think they have them in other countries?
No, they're the same ones. They're all the same. They're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. My people aren't. I have very few Germans anywhere. Most of the Germans that I have that match with me are American ones that I already kind of know. Second cousins, the cousins of my mom's first cousins that I knew up in Long Island, and they scattered. Yeah. And then the Norwegians are crazy. Like I said, free test with a tank full of gas. So, and I keep finding them. And the funny thing is too, is that the V haplogroup kind of originates like in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are on this V forum in FTDNA, Family Tree DNA has like a group you can join, and then you can, contact each other on a Facebook group and all this other stuff. You just keep in touch that way and try to figure out if you're in the same line somehow. But there's so many Norwegians and Scandinavians on there too, and that's not the way I got my mtDNA, because it goes through my mother. My mother wasn't Scandinavian. So I mean, maybe way back, maybe we haven't found the DNA from my family in Norway yet, from the German side, because there might have been. I mean, because they're traveling all over the place. So, and we know that I have like issues with Minnesota. So
yeah, that's a whole nother show.
That's more than a show. That's like a 6-season series, I think.
Well, we should dive into it.
Yeah. So, but
I know people in Minnesota, you could be related to them. That would be a small world.
It wouldn't be surprising either. Because,
it wouldn't be. Yeah,
because it was back in the day. It wasn't that very populated. So you had people coming over from Norway and Sweden and Germany, and they would work and have families. So it's just bizarre. And it's not that far back from me, because I have cousins that show up that are every one of our matches for the names on Ancestry DNA are Scandinavian, but yet they match on my maternal side. Yeah. So they don't know enough about the German side, or we haven't found the common ancestor yet. But boy, and the Scandinavians, you can't really go by the name because of that patronymic thing, because everybody's named after their father. So, I can't really go with that. I mean, it's possible I might hit the right family line and, have a match, but it hasn't happened yet with that.
So what do you do? Do you just call it a day and go, okay, this is what I have? Or do you have ideas that you're going to go further?
Well, apparently, as it becomes more popular, those little mutant ninja turtle groups, the mutation groups like this, there's more people that'll eventually pop in, supposedly. I mean, it just needs to be more popularized. And also there's another site. I just happened to listen to a lecture over the weekend, and it was through the genealogical society that I belong to. And Mags Galden, who is the founder of mitoydna.org, she was speaking for about an hour on some of this stuff and how she uses the haplogroups to figure out on the Y line. I mean, everybody who has a male relative that's on their father's side should get somebody tested so that you know what your haplogroup is, and then you can follow your entire male line all the way back. And that's what she was showing us about. And then, the mtDNA stuff, it's like a different thing. It's more, what countries did you come from? Where were you? That kind of thing. But she's got a site, and you can upload your file from the ftDNA, the data file, and put it up there and try to find people that way too. So there's like other sites that are opening up like that where you can try to find people. I don't really care that much. But the confusion with the whole Norwegian thing again, when this is coming from my German side, it's like, really, you guys have to be there too? It's like every time I pull in, it's like,
the House of Johan is everywhere.
No, that's the one's not there. It's the House of Sven.
House of Sven.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Tor and Sven. But it's crazy.
Is that that's like the common name, right?
Well, they're all pretty common. Johann's German. So yeah. That's really all I have with that, but I think that it's kind of a cool thing. If it's the mtDNA thing is cool. If you've done it on 23andMe and you're like, oh wow, that's neat. And the difference between that and this one is that the family tree DNA is full spectrum. So it's going to catch all of these little mutations and whatever. So if you want to be really super specific and find the direct line, maternal line, where it branched off, it's still branching off of V, but I don't know how far.
Do you think it's easier for so since we're the women gals here, do you think it's easier for us to find our maternal lines than our paternal lines? Because of the haplogroup and all that stuff?
Well, you're always going to know your maternal line by doing your genealogy.
Mm-hmm.
But anything beyond, if you can't find your sixth great grandmother on the maternal line, then it would be helpful to be able to find your mtDNA haplogroup to see if you can find the known ancestor, the oldest known ancestor.
And so for the people that are watching their pennies, what does it run to take the mtDNA?
Well, when it was on sale, I got it for $129.
Okay.
So it's like $30 off or something like that.
Okay.
So it's kind of expensive. And, it's like, it was kind of like, womp, womp, when you get to results like this. I couldn't have just been like a regular main,
They should give you some money back.
No.
Yeah.
No, they were really specific about it. And yeah, I could go with just the V and be happy with that for now. But like I said, it goes over into Norway again. So some of them, there was this one lady I connected with on the Facebook group, and she was a V too, and she was German.
Oh.
Yeah, most of the others were Scandinavian or didn't say, And she's like northern Germany, because Denmark and Germany have swapped borders, at some point. So That was her reasoning for that. And it made sense. And we actually did do a Jed match kit comparison, and we did have some matches, so we were related.
Oh, wow.
But way back. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, she said it could be noise. And I'm like, well, that's an awful lot of noise on a whole bunch of different chromosomes, and it does add up. And that's what they do on the other tests too. You can have little slivers, and it still shows up. So, and that makes sense to me in a way for the haplogroup when you compare tests, is because it's kind of like an endogamy thing. Like, you could show that you're like really super closely related to somebody, like Ashkenazi Jewish, because endogamy and marrying in within the religion over and over again, or small town endogamy where there's only a few families and they're out in the middle of nowhere, so they end up marrying second cousins for a while. And then as it funnels down into modern day from like 200 or 300 years ago, it looks like you're related to somebody, but you can't find them anywhere on your tree because it's little tiny snip pieces of DNA that add up. And it makes you look like you're more closely related, but you're, instead of being like a fourth cousin, you're like 10th cousins. So that's kind of what this would be like with her and I. That's how I feel about that particular comparison we did. But it's still cool. The Y-DNA is really the way to go if you want to really find your ancestors through your male line. And, like if my dad was here, I would have him do one, and I would be able to know all the way up through, the Swedish. And if my mother's brother took one, then I would know that line all the way up, the paternal line on that side. And I still have an uncle, and I still have a lot of male cousins that have the same last name that are all, they would, if they took the test, then we would be able to find people way back. But
are they reluctant to take the test?
I haven't asked them, but I have the feeling that they're just maybe not into it yet. And it's unfortunate that the second cousins I have here were through my grandfather's sister instead of, his brother didn't have kids. So I have to go with my first cousins or my one uncle. But you never know. I may ask them and they might say, oh, that's cool, I'll do it.
Yeah,
of course in German, but das ist cool, ich mach das. Yeah, there you go, for anybody who's wondering. Yeah, so I would still recommend it. I mean, if you kind of want to just know it, and like if you're going to do this big presentation to your family and say, well, the maternal line of our family is, this haplogroup, and it goes way from here, from us, all the way back to the beginning of, time before the mutation, but it's still V. Even so, this is like a type, a haplotype within a haplogroup. So, because it branches off, it's like, yeah, we got to Germany, but then we took a left turn, and now we're over here on this part of Germany.
And with the haplogroups, you don't have to be identical to be related, correct? Because we can be, like you said, the maternal line and have different dads for cousins and stuff like that. So it's not going to match. Well, it would match because it's through the maternal line.
Yeah, it's like I have one female cousin who is in the same haplogroup as me, and then her daughter, as far as immediate first cousins and so forth. That's it. Because there were 3 sisters. 2 of them had kids. Only 2 girls, me being one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so the other brothers they're all in charge of keeping the Y-DNA haplogroup information, because their wives gave their haplogroup to the kids. That's why this information would probably mean nothing to any of my female first cousins, except for the one. But it's still interesting information if you're keeping that much data. And, some people are going to give, a rat's ass about it, and others are going to be like, oh, that's so cool, I had no idea. What does that mean? Oh, Africa? Oh, and then this is our little town here. Everybody came here. Oh, okay. It may have mutated 500 years ago, which still doesn't really fine tune it very much, because I don't have I don't have the family tree on that side going back 500. I have it going back maybe 270 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's still...
Yeah. And it's probably the same group. The same, what I told you, the V10B one. It probably was for that.
Did they just
declaring.
do alphabetical with these haplotype groups, or does it mean something? Like I'm H and you're a V.
Yeah. Well, your people went in a different direction from Africa. You went to go get the spaghetti. I was going for the sauerkraut.
Part of us did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you look on the map, you can just pull up a map somewhere and you can see all the lines, right? They have that on the 23andMe site.
Well, there's something people should go and do.
But anyway, that's the thing. It's like I'm guessing that there's, I don't know how many mutations they are able to pick up on 23andMe, but the fact that mine's that, I mean, 10B1 added to it, that seems like it's more than one mutation that they did not pick up over there.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And this is a fairly new test. Or for some reason it just didn't pick it up. Maybe if I took it again over there that it would. I don't know.
Yeah.
If they keep improving things. But we don't really know what's going on with 23andMe right this second. Because they've got stuff closed off. You can't even compare DNA matches anymore right now. They've got that for security purposes. So
I'm locked down.
Yeah, we're on lockdown.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite site anyway, because it doesn't give you anything really to work with as far as your matches go. And now that they've taken the matches away, it's like, okay. And the haplogroup's not specific enough. It's just, and they only give you 1,500 DNA matches. And it's like the lowest ones drop off. Or they could be pouring in like crazy right now, but if they're less than the highest ones I have, they're not even showing up.
I wonder if I've gotten any. I haven't been on 23andMe in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was having too much fun with my new Ancestry membership. So.
Oh, yeah.
I've been able to look at everybody and everything. So.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, that's what I would say if anybody's interested in finding out what their mtDNA haplogroup is, that family tree DNA, full spectrum, they really give you the best, most accurate results. And if you're with a group that's a little bit more popular than mine, you might be able to do a whole lot with it. And that's all I got for that.
Okay. Did you hear the big screech? It sounded like a fire alarm going off, but...
No, didn't hear anything.
Whew, that was bad. Is it my phone? I don't know. Good thing you didn't hear it. That's why I pulled my things off. I was like, whoa.
Oh, she's getting up to leave. She took her headphones off.
I'm through with this.
Damn it. I'm not an H2 either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yours seems like it mutated more.
Does it? I have no clue.
Well, H2,
I don't follow it. You do.
H2A2.
Yes.
If your mother's first cousin is H2, then
yeah,
that's already a mutation from H. And then the A2 seems to be a mutation also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think you
mutated.
I don't think your mother's is the same as his. If she got hers done on 23andMe, I think it would be the same as yours. Like I said, I think it's just because he had his tested before you did, probably years ago, and they keep improving it. So anyway, that's all for the mtDNA tests and haplogroups for this show, and we'll be bringing you something new next time.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or compelling stories and would like to be a guest, head on over to our website at twiceremoved.net and let us know.
Yeah, fill out a form. Fill out a form if you want to be a part of the show.
Come play.
Time. See ya.
Bye. The Twice Removed podcast is produced by Linda Anderson and Gina Glass. All opinions expressed are of our own and of our guests. For more information and upcoming guests, please visit our website, twiceremoved.net.